is just fantastic.
Captain's log. Subdate 250703 point something. Wait, hang on. Are we allowed to do these again? Can I? Please? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be taking a look at a recent upload to the TikTok page of Lily con artist Tino. A video which has been shared to Twitter and Instagram and many other places in fact. Just before we dive into that though, remove Lily Tino from TikTok. Yes, we're going to look at this again. 528,167 verified signatures. Featured comment, the second one from Jenna in Toronto. Someone very close to me is trans, and watching someone like Lily Tino dismantle the progress the trans community has made is beyond maddening. Lily Tino has misused her platform to an alarming degree. She is incredibly harmful and should not be permitted to continue on TikTok. I figured if we were going to be diving into this video, it seemed right to provide another update on the status of that change.org petition. So with that out of the way, let's dive into a video that I expected sooner, but expect Lily to renege on quite quickly.
So the whole point of why I do what I do.
Ooh, pick me. It's to scam people out of free food by using your privileged position to make it seem like you're a victim when really you're setting back rights for those who are trans by at least a decade. There is a massive cultural shift going on in America right now. In many places of the world, in fact. You are not helping the situation at all. How's that for an answer? Was it better? I feel like we need your answer to know for certain, but I feel like I'm right, so yours is going to be terrible regardless, because you're going to try and act like authority and doing right and good, when really, grifter would be more apt a descriptor for someone of your con artist stature.
Which is create content, is to educate and to entertain.
Well, you couldn't be more fundamentally wrong about the kind of content you make, since the entire thing you do is a one-dimensional play of somebody misgenders you and you get free stuff. Or someone misgenders you, you out the place, and then you leave. And then you go on your quirky little holidays, taking selfies in bathrooms, trying to pass yourself off as female by dressing as a child, essentially, thinking that makes you look cute, or paying for surgery where there's been no discernible definitive change beyond your hairline moving slightly closer down your face. I'm trying not to be too insulting about appearances, since I'm the Elephant Man. However, there are limitations to how much I'm willing to put up with.
In that order. And I think that recently my content has taken a bit of a shift to be more, well, I'm hurt.
The reason your content took such a shift is because you became a slave for views, because your views on TikTok, although let's face it, millions of views means nothing on that platform, they were in the millions of views, which meant you realized what you had to do to succeed and promote your brand, or your iteration of a brand. That iteration was poisonous. You may now start to understand consequences because the Attorney General in Florida is investigating you. Whether there's a result or not that may lead to you getting into any legal trouble, I doubt. I think this is a culture shock for you because you thought yourself untouchable. And now you're seeing, well, I've got the eyes on me, these are the wrong ones. Florida is the wrong state to be pulling stunts like this. You acting somber is about as fake as your identity.
Deeply hurt.
Are you sure you want to be deeply hurt and not simply learn that this is not acceptable but decorum in any public setting? How about that? See, you can be deeply hurt if you think you're in the right, but that means you're still in the wrong. If you're deeply hurt because this is something you have to learn from, people might show a modicum of sympathy to you. It's unlikely, but one does have to have some optimism in life, don't they?
Because of the amount of hate that I've gotten over the past 3 years.
Well, them haters are quite committed when they see someone behaving like a trans-trending grifter, like Dylan Mulvaney and Jeffrey Marsh? Is that the other one? Yes. There are others as well that do those sex parties that look like Dylan in fact, but not. And it gets more tragic as time goes by, but the relevancy of everyone else is kind of ebbing. You know, that's what happens. You're about to hit that at some point in the near future, one does certainly hope. You call it hate, by the way. A lot of us would call it criticism, because you deserve it. Because a lot of what you do is grift. The fact you happen to be trans, apparently, is secondary.
Doing this 2.5 years. And that hurt has influenced the way that I do things.
Does that mean that with more influence you've become more of an entitled bitch? Because if that's the case, you might want to consider being less influence and less, therefore, by extension, a bitch.
As a content creator, especially as a streamer, I'm always on camera, talking all the time, daily updates about where I'm at.
Kindly do me a favour on behalf of all creators and stop pretending you were a creator. You're not. Your version of content was eating, talking to your audience about a load of bollocks, and when you got misgendered, turn it into a little video for your TikTok page, Instagram page, and any other page you used. Do bear in mind here, though, the only thing you had any influence on was the Tic Tacs. Your Instagram, your YouTube, Twitter, dead.
And I think that the hurt that I feel has influenced the way that I've pushed in my content to be confrontational and be in your face.
If the hurt that you feel made you think you were being confrontational, may I be the first then of many to tell you, you weren't confrontational, you acted like a soy-filled bish. There was nothing, let's say, alpha about it. It was very much, you knew that would get clicks and controversy, so you could push home a wider agenda and get free swag. I mean, we all love free stuff, but when you did it on a daily, uploading content, getting free stuff, it just made you look like an arsehole. The majority of us were thinking, these businesses could go out because of the damage you would do by reputation alone. That's what we thought, because we knew it was a grift because it happened so many times. So many times. And you went to these different places to bait for it. To act like a victim, which is what you did, is what was your undoing with your reputation. You poisoned your own well, and you say the hate, the hurt, but this is all from a place of ignorance, isn't it? With you anyway.
About what I'm trying to do, which is ultimately teach people about trans things.
Yes, by going to Disneyland, using a corn dog to talk about penis surgery, using those little round poppers to talk about testicles. That's inclusive and educational, isn't it? Yes. Well dressed like a child as well, no less. Oh, and then making videos as an homage to kids presenters talking about trans things that are highly inappropriate to children in TikToks that would undoubtedly be more earmarked towards adults, which makes it look less like information and education and more like a king. Pepperidge Farm remembers here, Lily.
And hopefully make for a more accepting world. But I don't want the hurt to be a part of it anymore.
Well then, to an extent you actually achieved your goal. The world was more accepting because they stopped putting up with your bollocks, which you'd already given up on anyway. We knew this, because you'd spoken about the surgery.
That shift is not fun for me at all.
Well, mercifully, no one has to care about that. Your feelings in the online space are cared for very little because you still do not understand. You are in the wrong. You being in the wrong means you have to learn to introspect. A novel and quaint concept from those who do not grasp that their actions have consequences. They're not always going to be positive for you. If you think they're always going to be positive for you, chances are you're either millennial or incredibly stupid. I think you're both, but two negatives usually make a positive, so millennial is more likely. And if you're a millennial like me, yes, be offended.
It's actually really awful. And it doesn't just impact me, but my family and my friends. And, I'm not here to hurt anybody.
Just the businesses you go to and out for not treating you the way you want to be treated. And trans rights that you set back. Well done, by the way, on that one. Naturally, what we want is people to feel more afraid to be who they are, accepted for who they are, because somebody's gone out there and used their identity to con people out of things. Acting a victim as your professional MO? Yeah, not a good look, is it now?
I'm always going to be a confrontational person, but think there's ways to do it that are not channeling the anger I feel at the world for hurting me.
Oh my god, you actually think you're a victim in this? You think by channeling your anger and speaking to managers, potentially costing people their jobs, getting free food, means that you, because of a minor accident that happened far too many times, which tells me either you really don't pass, which is the truth, or you stage somewhat, which I could also believe these venues as well. It happens so much. You are doing it solely as a one-dimensional grift to con things for free. I mean, I know cost of living's a bit high for people right now, but this is taking the piss. You think it's all based on anger. Your confrontation was to pretend and feign that you'd be somehow a threat in person, but in person you are as about as submissive as they get. You really are so high on your own farts that you believe yourself in the right here. The world hurt you. I think you'll find the only way you are actually hurt by the world is when you paid to have your testicles removed.
So to that end, I'm gonna take a break. I don't know when I'll be back.
When you have rent to pay, that's when you'll be back next. I could believe, based on the ecosphere of TikTok, that you'll be back soon because you have no choice. To earn money on TikTok, you need to be active and regularly or you get buried in the algorithm, to the point many upload 3 to 4 videos a day just so they can stay relevant. Not everyone can get tens of millions of views per upload, which means about 50-60p by the way on TikTok. Live streaming is what you need, your bread and butter, so you can con your pay pigs.
I'll be back, but I don't know when. I need to take some time. I'm not going to change myself for anybody.
I feel like there's an obvious remark here about changing yourself with surgeries, but most of your issues aren't surgery based. Most of your issues are what's in between your ears, or the lack thereof. You need to change who you are, because this is not going to change for you. Over 500,000 people signed a petition to have you removed because they really think you're a danger. You put children on your freaking TikToks because you thought it okay to take pictures in a bathroom because you wanted to rate the bathrooms. Your undoing was that. Dylan's undoing was the Bud Light. Jeffrey Marsh's undoing was the videos aimed at children. Do I need to continue here? How bad you influencers are in the wider space when someone finally notices your crappy behavior.
That's never going to happen. But I am going to work on the way that my hurt has taken over my content in some ways. So,
I keenly await your return in the not-so-distant future, and you continue as if nothing happened, and pretend that you are above such things as learning to be a better person, because that's for the oiks, the muggles, and the plebeians. As we reach the end of the video, I'd love to know all of you wonderful, resplendent, delicious, and that pesky German person that regularly frequents my Twitch chat think. Do let me know in the comments down below, and no, not all Germans, just the one. You know who you are. I shall be streaming on Twitch and Kick later. Hope to see you there for ships at sea, so fishing. If not, have a wonderful day, and thank you all so much for listening.